Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of Philippians. Today we're in Philippians chapter 2. We're looking at verses 12 and 13. Now verse 12 begins again with the word therefore. Now we've spent the last couple of days looking at what goes before this, which is that great hymn about the incarnation. How Jesus humbled himself, emptied himself of the divine attributes by taking upon himself the form of a servant, becoming man, in order that he might die for us on the cross. Therefore God has exalted him in the resurrection and the ascension and given him the name above every name. We've seen that great hymn of our salvation that comes by the work of Jesus Christ. And then Paul says, therefore, knowing what Christ has done for you, therefore, this is what you should do. Verse 12, therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now even more in my absence, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose. Paul says, work out your salvation. Now, what does that mean? We know that we're not saved by our works. We don't work for salvation. We know that it is God who works salvation in us. And that's what Paul says. Because of what Christ has done for you and dying for you and being raised again and ascending, he has provided you salvation. That salvation is purely by faith through grace. Therefore, work out your salvation, for it is God who works in you. You see, God works in you to put salvation into your life. He saves you. He redeems you. He makes you his child. That now you are to work out your salvation. That is, to take this incredible gift of redemption that God has given you in Jesus. And now work it out fully in your life by living for him, by being devoted to him, by walking in faith. The good works of your life flow from the fact that he has saved you. And so to work out your salvation is to live the full consequences of being saved in every part of your living. I live a life of full devotion to Jesus, not because I'm saved by that devotion, but because he has already saved me. And my devotion to him is a response to his saving. I live a life of dedication to the Lordship of Christ. Not because my dedication saves me, but because he has already saved me. My response to that salvation is to be dedicated to him and his Lordship. You see, Jesus has put salvation within me. God is working in me. And I must work out my salvation. I must allow it to flow through all parts of my life. I want everything I do and everything I say and all the ways in which I live and all the ways in which I interact with other people. I want every part of my living to reflect the experience of salvation I have in Jesus Christ through faith. That is what it means to work out your salvation, to allow all he has done for you to permeate through your life and then come out in every part of your living, every part of your being, every part of your speaking, every part of your acting. So there's, as you see, a cooperation between you and the grace of God. You're saved purely by grace, but you must cooperate with that grace by believing. And you must cooperate with that grace by allowing all of your life to be lived in faithfulness to Jesus. That's what Paul means. So understanding the wonder of salvation, therefore, we must work out our salvation, for it is God who works in us, and is all to reflect his purpose and his plan for our life. What a wonderful word, and how we hear this word of the Philippians to work out our salvation, for it is God who has saved us through faith in Christ. Join us tomorrow as we continue our 5-minute Bible study in the book of Philippians.